Trying to get this top on here, and with David's help and the tops I put on in the past, I think we've got this thing under control. It just had to find a good starting spot. So once we got all the leather stuff done, and I'll show you all that in a minute, then I knew I had to put the headliner in and the straps in, and to get where the straps need to be, I need to know how far this window's going to go in and how it's going to latch. And to know where that is, I got to know where it starts down here. And that being the case, that tells me that the back window's got to go in first, and it's got to be set to the back of this back of your car, and then work my way forward. Well, after that piece that I've got cut out and then had David re-sew back in there, it fits perfectly against that Hytem strip down through there. So now that it's sitting right there just perfect, I pulled it up a little bit. Got it taut for a little while, and let that set and stretch, and by using tape. And then after that set for a while, I retaped it all, made sure it's real strong, and pulled that in and found out exactly where the strap pin, the latches go. For when it's open, it's going to hang from the roof. Very important number right there. That would never work. So in doing that, I was able to pull each one of them taut to where every one of them are in the exact position. So this will snap in there good. And then I tore all this back down and then stapled all those in place. And then once they're all in place, then I can put my headliner across it, then I can put my ends on it, and do all that. But I know that now where I have your back window is exactly center, exactly perfect where it needs to go across the back. I've got your zippers right in line with those bars inside there, and that's where I'm fixing to tack this down. I just want to show you where I'm at right now. Next step's going to be stapling this back window in place. And then we can start putting the headliner on it. Here, I've got tape over that Hytem strip. I just taped it in place for now. But it's a perfect fit all the way across there when they snap in place. Then inside here, I've got all your straps in, and they're all stapled and tight. Each one of them, and they're all exactly perfect to where when that pulls up, it's going to hold it real nice and tight, because there is a glass in the frame in there, and it's going to be heavy, so I want it as taut as I could get it so that so it holds that well. And then I've got your stitches, or your zipper. Look and see how that lines up, how the other one lines up, and now that all that's in place, I can start building around it. And then I've got the one across the front here, and got it taut. You can see how good that is. You got several staples in there, and yeah, it works out. Really going to look neat when all this is done. So I'm fixing to pull this up and staple it in place. And then once I get all that together, then I'll put the other piece on, and that's when I'll get David out here and help me, because we got to do a bunch of cutting and fitting on that, and he's an expert at that. All right, Bruce, I want to show you the final product of the back window. I've got it all nailed down now, all the way across and cut. And you can see we're running out of room in there. We still got a headliner and an inner liner and a top to put on that, so it gets a lot more, but it turned out real good. Look how nice that is. And tight snaps. The snaps go right up and snap up there. Just show you how it looks on the inside. Yep, it's all straight with my zippers and my poles, and yeah, it turned out nice. So I'm fixing to start putting the side panels on it now, and then we'll work towards putting the top on it. So I got some pretty thick panels that go on these corners and down this top right here. I've got them over here on the table, and these are made out of that board, but I've already kind of cut and fit them. But yeah, they're thick, so all this material stacks up. So the time we get this corner on, there's going to be several layers right here. But a very neat top it's going to be when we get done with this. Before I start putting your sides on, these side panels, it's got to go on here, and then the headliner go on. These are really going to be worked in tight, so anywhere area that it's stacked up, I'm really going to have to work that in tight, or it's going to map into your top on the outside. And we'll have to use some fillers and stuff in some spots. But before I do it, I've got to make sure these Landau rods fit like they're supposed to. So there are a bunch of different parts from. I mean, this was with the car. There's no telling where these came from, and then the bolt, the pins that go through here, and all the other, some of that stuff's aftermarket. So I'll show you what I got and what I'm working with. But now's the time to make these fit and actually bolt on there because I have to put a plate in here as well before I go any further. And then I'll put all this other stuff on and drill a hole through it. Then I'll have to drill a hole through your top, punch a hole through your top. But these might get interesting because yeah, there's so many different. They're from so many different places, and each part's a little different. All right, over here on the table, I've got it all, and the ends weren't drilled in this, so I drilled these out to a 3/8, and then had to open them up a little bit more for these where these have been chromed, and I'm gonna have to take a little bit of that chrome off. But these are fine threaded, and the receiver that mounts in the woods on these are coarse threaded. So I'm gonna clean these threads and see how well this taps into this. If I can tap those threads and make those work and make it pretty strong, I think I can move forward. If not, I may have to see if we can't find some of these in a fine thread, which yeah, I don't know. And these are original. I just had these re-chromed. These are some type of aftermarket, but they seem to be real nice. And then this is the aftermarket bumper kit. So I'll put all this together now before that top goes on. That way I can get every bit of it lined up just exactly like it needs. And then when I have to punch a hole through that brand new top on there, I'll know exactly how it's going to go in and how all this is going to work. All right, Brady, so I want to give you a check of these Landau bars. I've got them in place. You can see how that looks pretty cool. I had to mount all that before setting the face and the landing of how this piece here goes in. Took a minute because it has to be exactly perfect for that to work. And one of these were bent, and had to overside the holes, and had to re-thread these to a fine thread, and quite a bit. But they look really, really good. And now I'm ready to start putting these other panels on, because these will go through the gray panels that'll be here, and they'll go through the top. But yeah, they turned out real nice. They're going to look so good on the side of that new top.